Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the Blue Collar Connoisseur Club podcast. Thank you again for joining us once more. So, today we're doing something a wee bit different. This is going to be our first pub review episode. So, as you can see by the intro, we have headed to Whitburn in West Lothian today. So, Whitburn is just a short distance from Edinburgh, about 30 minutes on the train. Now, we will go through the three main pubs in Whitburn and we will give you an honest review of each. Now, what we will do is, like I say, we will go through them individually. You will have seen some of the pubs appear on our TikTok and our YouTube channels. So, again, if you're not following them, jump on to TikTok and YouTube, Facebook, YouTube, and give them all a like and a follow, and you will see obviously what is coming up as well. So, without further ado, we will head off to our first pub of the day. So, pub number one is the Double Five in Whitburn, West Lothian in Scotland. So, when we first entered the pub, it was very well presented, very nice smell, and very clean. The pints are sitting at £3.70 per pint, and it was a very enjoyable pint. Although it was very quiet, the staff were very friendly, as obviously it was a Tuesday early lunchtime. Good selection of beers on tap, as well as the drinks behind the bar. Very nice pool table. They don't have Sky Sports, so not the best for sports, but apart from that, very enjoyable pub. Right, guys, so as you can see, our first pub for today was the Double Five, that is at the furthest end of the main street. So, where do we start? So, the beer, we'll rate that a 4 out of 5. It was a good price, nice cold pint, nice and refreshing. The atmosphere, we have went this time for the 3 out of 5. We were in quite early, so there wasn't a lot. Basically, I was only one in. So, again, very hard to gauge the atmosphere. But, yeah, it seemed okay. They do still have the old kind of fire and obviously the TV's on as well. The staff, very, very friendly. We're going to rate them a 4 out of 5. She was very chatty, which is always good for a barmaid. Looked very typical old school barmaid. Decor, now they did lose a few decor points, so we're going to go for the 3 out of 5. Now, the main reason for this was simply the fact that it is, as you can see, it does have very particular decor. Granted, most people will only drink there if you are of a certain persuasion. But again, for the visitor, depends on what type of persuasion you're in. You would maybe rate that a 5 out of 5, you'd maybe rate that a 4 out of 5, you would maybe rate it a 1. So we've went down the middle and went for the 3. Now, with regards to the extras, we've rated that a 3 out of 5. Although they do have a pool table, they don't show any live sports, and obviously they don't serve food. So it's just basic bar snacks to go along with your refreshments. So in total, the Double Five, we've rated that as at 17 out of 25. So again, just like our previous episode on the Livingston FC episode, we've rated that as fair. It's middle of the road. It's a nice wee pub for a drink. Obviously, a wee bit better, so I believe, on match days, where it does get a wee bit busier later on after the game. And the atmosphere does pick up, and Obviously, there's a few events during the year in Whitburn where the pub is really busy and it does have a good atmosphere. So, again, it's maybe somewhere that we will try and get back to at a later date. But that kind of wraps up the double five. So we will make our way down down the main street a wee bit more, maybe about a 5 minute walk, and we will head to pub number 2.
The Old Market Inn in Whitburn in West Lothian. Now, here's a pub review. So, when you do go in, cleanliness does lose a few points compared to some of the other pubs that we've been in. The bar was very well stocked, a very large bar as well. Good selection of drinks on tap all the way around the bar. They do have sports on in here, as well as pool table and slot machines. Now, there was quite a good atmosphere. It was a wee bit busier, especially with it being quite early on a Tuesday. The pints were coming in about £4.30 per pint, and again, it was quite a nice pint. The decor is okay, probably starting to look a wee bit dated compared to some other pubs that we may be in. And again, like I say, very nice pint and good selection.
Right, guys, so that has been to pub number 2, Yale Market. Again, as you can see by the short clip beforehand, we will just jump straight into the ratings. So, again, we'll just keep everything nice and simple. So, with regards to the beer, we've rated that as a 3 out of 5. It was the most expensive pint of the day. Although the pint was very nice, again, loses a slight point just with it being the most expensive one that we went into. I think it has kind of similar price to the football club further down the road. Atmosphere, again, we've rated that a 3 out of 5. It was quite busy. It was reasonably busy, but it was a lot more of an older clientele. So depends on kind of what you're into, but for the day that we were out, we've rated that as a 3. Staff, again, 3 out of 5. Not the most friendly staff that we encountered of the day, although they were very pleasant. Not going to take that away from them. You could see that they were very preoccupied with the regulars at the time, which you will not take that away from them. Decor, we have rated that as a 2 out of 5. Does need a bit of a freshen up. There was a bit of a aroma, shall we say, when we first walked in, which kind of let us down a wee bit. It was obviously probably the biggest pub that we did visit for out of the 3. But again, it was just really the aroma within the establishment that kind of put us off a wee bit. Extras, they do have sports and they do have a pool table. But we have rated that again 3 out of 5. Although obviously they did have TVs and stuff, they weren't the biggest for the size of the place. There was one big TV, but with the kind of higher stools in the middle of the room, if you're sitting against the back wall where we were sitting, you would struggle to see that if it was really busy on a sports day. So all in all, we have rated that as a 14 out of 5. 14 out of 25, sorry. Now, it still falls into the fair category, but it does fall right down the very bottom. Any lower than that, then it would probably be diving down into more poor category. But we'll keep that as fair at the moment. Now, a quick 2-minute walk across the road and just down a wee bit, we will head to our third and final pub for the episode, which is a pub that I've been in a few times. So, yep, we will head in there, and obviously the ratings will tell you why
I've been in there a few times compared to the other two.
Our third pub of the day is the Cross Tavern in Whitburn. Always a very nice pub. This is probably my go-to pub in Whitburn. The pints are £3.60. You always get a very nice pint. There is always a very good atmosphere in here. Cleanliness is second to none. It also has a really nice beer garden, which you will see. A good selection of beers on tap, as well as spirits behind the bar and bottles as well. Sports are on most of the time. It does have a pool table, jukebox, and slot machine. Now, the staff in here are always very friendly, and like I say, the beer garden is very good. You can take your pints outside as well, and it is all covered, so it does keep the wind off with bushes to keep the wind.
Right, guys, so our third and final pub for today, as you can see, is the Cross Tavern. Sits right on the cross in the middle of the main street in Whitburn. So pints, again, we'll stay with the beer. So pints were, again, came in at 4 out of 5, very reasonably priced and a very nice pint. Always get a good pint in there, so never had any problems with that one. Atmosphere, again, we went for 4 out of 5. It is always quite busy, regardless when you go in. Lots of people chatting, lots of people will talk to you as well, which is always very good. So it does give it a good atmosphere, nice welcoming place to go into. Staff, 5 out of 5, cannot fault the staff whatsoever. They're always very friendly, no matter who is working behind the bar. The girls are absolutely fantastic. Decor, 4 out of 5. Again, as you can see, there is some nice quirky bits, and it is quite modern looking as well. Everything is very nice, and the beer garden outside, again, excellent. So again, extras, we have rated that as a 5 out of 5. They do have sports. You've got your pool table, you've got your coin machines, and you've got your jukebox, as well as the beer garden as well, which is fully covered, which is always very, very nice. They do sometimes have catering on as well, which is always good and quite handy if it is on and you do fancy something as well. So altogether, we have rated that as a 22 out of 25, which is our first excellent that we've had. So highly recommend the Cross Tavern. It is a very, very good pub. So if you're ever in Whitburn, that would be our recommendation for a nice, friendly beverage, especially during the summer, just to cool you down slightly. So that does wrap up. So we will head back to the studio where we are just now, and we will just wrap everything up for you for the end of this episode. Right, guys, so that's the end of our pub review episode. We do hope that you have enjoyed it. Now, if you are watching and you do want us to come and review the pubs where you stay in your town, village or city, let us know. Drop a comment in. Follow us on Facebook and TikTok. And again, leave us messages on there as well, telling us where you want us to go. We're more than happy to try and accommodate you and start getting around the country. And eventually we will maybe take, the top pubs from each place and pit them against each other effectively from what we think, and maybe just do a wee recap episode with all the top places that we have visited. So thanks again for watching. It is a pleasure as always. Again, give the YouTube a like, a follow, hit that wee bell button to get notified when we do post new videos. They will again be running every second Friday. So 2 weeks from today will be the next episode, and we will hopefully get out and about. So again, as always, stay safe, look after yourself, enjoy yourself, and we will see you on the next episode. Thanks very much.